everyone, welcome back to Minor Light Productions and welcome to year 2021. Go ahead and pat yourself on the back. You earned it. You made it through. I would be remiss if I didn't make a video about some of the things that I've learned in 2020. I guarantee if we implement even these small little things that I'm going to share, 2021 is going to be a better year despite what happens. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. What I first decided to do in year 2020, I had a theme verse and I was super excited about my verse. It's Psalms 34:14, which says, "Turn from evil and do good, seek peace and pursue it." It was just something about that word, pursue and peace, that just made me want to have that be my theme verse for 2020. Along the line, I felt like I just completely forgot about this verse and my peace was just all over the place. Like there's cars running over my peace, just having all these bulldozers just whacking it and stuff like that. So my peace has been all over the place. So my year kind of started out really well. Then, you already know what happened kind of thing. And then on the later months of this 2020, I was able to come back to this verse and say, well, how was I supposed to find peace throughout that? Or how could I have found peace even amongst all those trials that we've all gone through in the year 2020? So some things that I've learned, I just wanted to instill it in you too, so that we can have a better 2021 no matter what happens, okay? So tip number 1 is to implement boundaries. So for our house, we have boundaries. We don't let just anybody come through our gate or come through our door. We have certain locks. We have like little peek holes so we can check to see who is coming or knocking on our doors and decide if we are going to let them into our lives or our homes or not. How come we do not do the same for our life, our spiritual well-being, our mental well-being? How come we don't look through the little peephole and see, is whatever's coming, is it good or is it not? You have control to decide what do you want to let into your life and what do you not. So I want to encourage you to implement some boundaries. The way that you can do this is by saying no. It's actually something I struggle with because I like to make people happy, just I want people to be happy. So sometimes I say yes even at the expense of myself, which I'm learning that you can't do that, because if you really love people and you love giving back, you do have to say no to certain things so that you are in the best condition to help others when the time comes. So learn how to say no is a good way to implement boundaries. Something I really learned this year was to stand up for your beliefs. Just with the things that happened in 2020, it kind of just polarized people in some of their opinions. And just being around people that were just very different in my thought processes was kind of hard for me, and I was just like, man, you better just think like I do, or actually for a little bit, like, am I crazy? Like, in the way that I'm thinking, is it not right? Because everybody around me is thinking the exact opposite. So what I was able to learn is, through that experience, it's always best to hear people out, hear what their process is. They might be willing to hear what's on your heart, they might not, but either way, listen to what the people around you are saying, bring it to God, allow it, if need be, to challenge your way of thinking. But if it doesn't line up, and if you take it to the Lord in prayer and it's still not lining up with what God will have you to do, then you have to drop it. Okay, so then you're not crazy, you're able to talk to the Lord about it, but you can have some type of peace. So you're not just allowing other people's opinions just to change your mind, and vice versa. You're not standing so firm in your thoughts that you're not allowing other people's thoughts to challenge them and just to make you better. So that's a good boundary to have. Use that peephole, listen to what people are saying, but again, bring it to God and see if it's going to stick to your life. Allow it to challenge you, but at the end of the day, stick firm to what you believe and don't feel crazy. Don't do it. And this was a huge one. So for some of you that are close to me, I've been implementing or practicing life coaching, and this has been such a beautiful experience. I'm doing it at a mental health clinic in Northern California, and of course, God put in place a patient that was like myself. So I have to coach this person, but she was struggling in areas that I was struggling too. So I was reading articles in order to help this client of mine in her affairs to try to stop people pleasing, and I learned that people pleasing is selfish and it is a form of manipulation. Did you hear me? Manipulation. You are trying to control how other people feel about you so that you don't have to be uncomfortable in being disliked. And that is a form of manipulation, and that's selfishness. And I'm not gonna lie to you and be like, oh, I'm perfect, I'm just well balanced. No, like that is a huge area that I struggle with, because I just like everybody to be happy. I'm happy when everybody's just happy and calm and just chill, just relax. I'm good and I feel good that way. But I was learning that I am trying to control how they feel about me, so that I don't have to be uncomfortable if they don't like me or if they have a conflict with me. But at the end, it's, again, like I said, selfishness, it's manipulation, but also it doesn't allow you to be your true self. And that's where I think a lot of peace is being your true self in Jesus and allowing God to take control of that and to heal you from those things. To be honest, you cannot please everyone, and that's what usually brings me a lot of anxiety, is because I'm trying to please so many people, and you can't. It's impossible. So I'm over here anxious with the false, narrative that people like me because I'm so nice. But, at the end of the day, people respect you and they like you if you're just being your true, authentic self. So people learn how to appreciate that. So it's a good way to spend time in God to see who you truly are, put those boundaries up, and implement that so that you can be on your search for true peace. Tip number 2 is to acknowledge your values. So have you ever felt like you're just always so busy, don't really have time for yourself, and the things that you really want, you just don't have time for? Like, it's just no matter what you do, you're just busy, but you take a minute, you lay down, you're gonna go to bed, and you didn't get done what you needed to get done. That was me for a little bit, and just because I have a lot of projects that I'm working on that I'm really excited about, but I don't know if I should tell you guys yet, so maybe in the future. But laying down at night and I'm like, okay, I'm so busy, I feel like I don't have time for myself, but these big projects that I want to do, they're not even close to being done. So something that was mind-blowing for me is, if you look at your schedule, what do you do in the day? See if your values line up with that. And what I mean by that is, first and foremost, write down what you value, okay? And I'll give you an example. I value, my relationship with God. That's number 1. I value my fiance, spending time with him and developing our relationship and trying to make sure we have a good foundation for our marriage. I value my career. I value my body. And this was huge for me this year, is my mental health, okay? I value that. So write down your list of what you value. Look at your schedule that you normally do. Do you schedule out time to fulfill those values? Because if you don't, you're always going to feel like unequal or lopsided, or like you're not doing what you need to do. So I know for me, like not being able to work out because of COVID, not going to the gym where I usually find the motivation to work out, that was a trigger point for me. I was unhappy not being able to challenge myself physically, and then sometimes I was feeling overwhelmed by not being able to spend time to work on my mental health. It was just all over the place. So what I did was I decided to make a schedule, and what my priorities were, what my values were, I made sure that I blocked off time in order to do those. So I blocked off time to spend with God. I blocked off times to exercise. I blocked off time speaking with my fiance, working on certain projects, working on my career, things of that nature. So I blocked off times to do that, And what I did was at night I blocked off time to work on my mental health. And that could be another video that I will do in the future, but something quick that I do right before I go to bed. But yeah, I think I'm gonna make that a new video because it has helped me leaps and bounds just to wake up more refreshed and ready for the next day. So number 2 is to acknowledge your values and make sure your schedule actually aligns with spending time with those values, even if it's just 15 minutes or 10 minutes, so that you are fed and that you can be your best you. Number 3 is to bask in God's gifts. You know, with the bad that is happening in this world, God always looks out for his children, and so there's plenty of good that we just are not focusing on. So make sure that you have a gratitude journal. That is so effective in just spending time in what you're thankful for every day. Just to take it a step further, for those that might be like myself, I am like super hard on myself for no reason. You know what I mean? And so spend time in not only just writing down what you're grateful for, but also in the last little bit, write down what you're proud of yourself for. You know, if you didn't do in your mind things right, just say, you know, I'm resilient, I'm thankful that I'm growing, I'm thankful that I have a realization of wanting to grow. You know, write down what you have accomplished, even if you haven't accomplished everything that you wanted on your to-do list. Well, celebrate what you did do. You know, I spent a long time working on my finances. You know, I'm excited about that. It's more in line with what I want now. Celebrate that, because a lot of times we dwell on the negative, which is like 10% of our day, when there's a lot of 90% of blessings that God has given us, positives that happen in our day, but we're just not dwelling on it. We're dwelling on that 10%. So tip number 3 is to bask in God's gifts. Tip number 4, and this is like super duper practical. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I was super stressed out recently, and I was seeing some physiological differences because of my stress, and it was affecting me. And so my fiance recommended that I get the breathing app. And it has been so helpful just to take a minute and just breathe in and out. Getting an app to help you breathe has been significant for me, just to take like a second and just do it, because it's like throughout our days we're just focused on doing this, doing that, and the other, that we forget to just take a moment and relax and just get that oxygen into your lungs. So it has like a couple different breathing schemes that you can try out, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I really like it. I do it every day, and it's like 2 minutes. Who beats that? Tip number 5 is Jesus. You know, just spending more and more time with him is one of my huge values. So I noticed that if I'm not spending the most time I could with him, or if it's lacking in some area, I just notice that it does bleed into every aspect of my life. It bleeds into my boundaries, because I'm not remembering how valuable I am, because that comes with Christ. He's the one that reminds me of that. He's the one that's gonna help me to learn that every situation that we're in still has a lesson to be learned. So I just noticed that spending time with God really just helps everything to wrap up. He is your safety blanket. You know what I mean? Just spend time with him. So I hope these 5 tips will help you have a more successful 2021. So I pray many blessings and peace for you. Please comment below if there's any tips that you have done or things that you have learned in 2020 that you want to implement in 2021. Please let me know. I would love to hear from you, okay? Have some fun, 2021. Bye.